Hello, friends. Welcome back. Phoenix Friday's Attorney, Trials and Tribulations, Bridge to the Turnabout, final case of the final game of the original trilogy. It's been a long road so far, and it's still going. We have trial. We've been through a lot. We found out a lot of good information about what's going on. We still don't know anything about the murder. But we do know everything surrounding the murder and all the people and all of the motivations and all of the random acts of 8-year-olds. Or is she 9 in this case? I'll have to look at the profiles. Anyway. Yeah, last time was a fun ride. We also found out that the cane that Lee Stoneman used, or had the staff, I guess, with the orb, it was a sword. And we're pretty sure that it is the murder weapon, but only Gumshoe and I know about that, so that's another thing. Let's see, what else is going on? Iris was unlocking locks, and I think it's best to just carry on. So let's do it. Welcome back to court. Good morning. Oh, are you by yourself? Ugh, morning, girls. Mr. Nick, please tell me what's going to happen to Mystic Maya. I'm sorry. We don't know yet. The investigation is still going on, so I wasn't allowed into the inner temple. Oh, I see. Ah, she is 9 now. She was 8 in the last game. So, is Sister Iris still trying to remove those trick locks in the training hall? No, she's the defendant in this case, so she can't be at the Inner Temple. She's required to be here in court. Then how come she's not here in the defendant's lobby? I have to admit, it is kind of strange. Who's talking? Is it Edgeworth? Maybe it's Edgeworth. I'm guessing it's Edgeworth. If you're looking for Iris, she's in the prosecutor's lobby. Yes, it is Edgeworth. Yes. Edgeworth. What's Iris doing over there? She's going over today's testimony with the prosecutor as we speak. Today's testimony? You heard me. Iris is going to be testifying as a witness for the prosecution. Wait, what? The prosecutor is squeezing her for a confession, so I heard. Franziska von Karma, what are you up to? I know what you're thinking, but Franziska isn't going to be the prosecutor today. What? Then who is? Who else would it be but Godot? Godot. Franziska is engaged in some important work at the Sacred Cavern. Sacred Cavern? You don't mean that she's... Exactly. She has been out there all night trying to remove those strict locks. With the headman's assistance, naturally. We estimate that the last of the locks should be taken care of in about 3 hours. I hope everything continues to go smoothly and we receive some good news soon. Yeah, thanks, Edgeworth. Prosecutor Godot intends to nail this case shut today. Be prepared to fight like there's no tomorrow. You don't have to tell me that. I know. I can already see it in your eyes. You're not the same fever-ridden, frantic maniac you were yesterday. It's strange. On the way here, I decided that today would be the end of all of this. Almost immediately after I made the decision, I felt myself getting stronger. Interesting. Maybe you've passed your cold onto someone else, literally. And with that, I leave the rest in your capable hands, partner. Thanks. Partner? The defense team! Even though he's a prosecutor. I still don't have answers for most of the riddles plaguing this case. The circumstances around the murder of Miss Lee Stoneham. No, I mean Miss Misty Fey. The impossible flight Larry claims to have seen. And what that woman is really after. I will solve them all and bring this whole tragedy to an end. Let's do it! Solve all of it! Figure everything out. in the next 30 minutes. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. The court is now in session for the trial of Iris of Hazakura Temple. Your Honor? What are you? Oh, right! Wait! Shoot! Hold on. Different judge. Who, me? Well, my little brother came to visit me in my chambers earlier this morning. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he developed a scorching fever and fainted. Therefore, I'll be standing in for him. Oh, I did pass my coat on to someone else. I see, Your Honor. So they're brothers. That explains a lot. My poor brother, he looked a bit pale. Not to mention sad that he couldn't be here. That smooth jazz. The scent of coffee, or whatever it's called. What is it? Shoot, I already forget. Something about the scent of dark coffee, or dark aroma, or dark roast. I don't know. It is impossible to predict what the future has in store for any of us. This is precisely why people feel the need to judge the past. And we of the court have been charged with the solemn duty of passing such judgment. I can never figure out his voice. I'm sorry, it's different every time. Well said, Mr. Godot. I understood exactly what you said. At least up until the end, anyway. Now then, Mr. Godot, please proceed with your opening statement. Humans are fragile, fickle beings. Our hearts change with the shifting of the tides. There's only one thing that remains constant in this crazy world. The bitter darkness that lies at the bottom of this mug. So then you mean... Forget it. What do you mean? During yesterday's trial, the accused refused to admit her role in the crime, but today she has had a change of heart. Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple has a confession to make. Confession? The defendant? Iris, why didn't you discuss this with me first? I am your lawyer. Very well. This court will now hear the defendant's confession. This'll be fun. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules. Do you always meet beautiful ladies in court? Why would profession be the first thing on your mind? I feel like... I'm sure that's fair. My name's Iris. I'm but a simple nun undergoing training at Hazakura Temple. Witness, is there something that you want to confess to? Yes. First, I want to apologize to Mr. Wright. I can't continue lying to everyone anymore. It's alright. What is it? Mr. Wright, I have to admit that I did play a part in this terrible incident. Are you actually confessing? Are you saying that you were the one who murdered Miss Elise Stoneham? No, I'm not, Your Honor. But I dealt with the cover-up after the murder took place. After her spirit left, I took the lifeless shell of Mystic Elise and carried it to the Hazakura Temple courtyard where I desecrated it. What? Order in the court. Order! Witness, are you saying you were an accomplice to the murder? Yes, that's correct. What? 3 minutes into court and I'm already covered in a cold sweat. Ha! Everyone on the planet is an accomplice to something. It just happens to be that in this case, it's a murder. Isn't that right, Mr. Trite? That Godot. So this is the confession they were conferring about. It pains me to say this, but it looks like Iris' testimony was all a lie. Now then, little lady, if you don't mind, I've got a question for you. Whose crime were you trying to cover up by your actions? Iris was covering for someone. Now I'm definitely up the creek without a paddle. Or a life jacket. I've been at Hazakura Temple ever since I was a little girl. Hazakura Temple is run by one of the branch families of the Korean tradition. One of our missions is to protect the main family. I'm sorry, main family? Yes, and that's why I would dirty myself, if need be, to protect her. I'm the daughter of the master of the Korean channeling technique, Mystic Maya Fey. Huh? Wake up and smell the coffee, Trite. She's naming Maya? Order in the court. So not only did you witness the murder, you know the name of the murderer. I'm terribly sorry, but it's all true. I saw her commit the crime with my very own eyes. And then I cleaned up the area to try to protect her. That's ridiculous. Maya could never do it. The defense will refrain from commenting until the appropriate time. Now, witness, let's hear your testimony. What exactly happened on the night of the crime? Yes, Your Honor. I thought I was prepared for the unexpected, but I never imagined the case would wind up going in this direction. Really? Oh, I guess everybody was still on, oh, Maya might have been murdered. She's probably dead. And they didn't really think of, oh, Maya's over here, and... But no, because the blood was on the thing, like it said her name, so... Lots of weird twists. Weird twists. The real murderer! Alright. I went to the inner temple that night and saw it all happen in the garden. I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff. While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. It was only in self-defense. You can't blame her for it. So it was in self-defense? Yes, Mystic Elise was the one who attacked first. That's why I tried my best to protect Mystic Maya. You moved the victim's body to the temple so that Maya wouldn't be suspected. Isn't that right? Not bad. You've got the instincts of a true criminal. Something's not quite right. I'm sure it was established yesterday that Iris never went to the inner temple that night. And that the person who did go was that woman. Iris even admitted it. Now then, Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination. And you told me you weren't there. Sister Iris, your testimony has changed quite a bit since yesterday. You stated yesterday that on the night of the murder, you didn't go to the inner temple. Did she now? Too bad for you. What she said yesterday doesn't mean much today. By the way, where were you when she claimed that she didn't go? It was in the inner temple's training hall. A private conversation between the two of you does not constitute testimony. That would be properly described as hearsay. What do you have to say, witness? I just couldn't tell him the truth at that time. Mystic Maya, she's your girlfriend, isn't she? I didn't want to be the one to break it to you that I saw her commit murder. What is with these sisters and their insistence on the fact that Maya is Nick's girlfriend? Come on now. Come on now. It's worse than her little sister. There. We all understand how difficult this is for you. Now then, let's continue with the testimony. What did you witness in the temple garden? Well, Your Honor. Okay, so she struck... We're going through the whole press everything around here. You're saying that the victim attacked Maya, Miss Faye. Yes, it was a truly frightening scene. Mystic Maya was struck hard in the head and looked like she was going to collapse. What were you doing at the time? Why didn't you stop them from fighting? Oh, I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Wright. I was frightened. I couldn't move. I couldn't even speak. I was in such shock. That's perfectly understandable, my dear. This doesn't sound right. I don't believe his testimony for a minute. What happened after that? She moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached in her robe for a weapon. Wait a minute. What was this weapon? It was some kind of dagger. A dagger, huh? And Lee Stonenim tried to stab her with this weapon? To kill Miss Faye? Yes, exactly. Huh. Well, I don't like this music rounding out. You look like I did after I mistakenly took a swig of Worcestershire sauce. Do you have a problem with the testimony we're hearing from your client, lawyer boy? Why do I feel like this is a trap? We're not supposed to bring it up, right? We're not supposed to say it. We're not supposed to say it. Your Honor, I have a small problem with the witness's testimony. You do, but this witness is your own client. Yes, well, nevertheless, that's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony. Yes, sir. Hey, just a moment. It's my job to say that. Listen, Gramps. I won't say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me. Wow. Okay. Chill, Godot. Chill. I know it's hard because you're drinking hot coffee, but chill. Okay, now, let's continue. Oh, I don't like this. I do not like that. She threw her staff away? Mystic Elise was trying to kill Mystic Maya. I think that's why she wanted a more lethal weapon. It's true. It's not easy to inflict a deadly blow with a staff. Sister Iris, let me make sure I've got this straight. The victim herself chose to throw away her staff. Yes, that's what I saw. Is there anything odd about that, Mr. Wright? Yeah, it's odd, all right. Mystic Elise attacked Mystic Maya with a dagger. I'm sure of this. And then... Mystic Maya, she turned things around and she used the weapon she had taken and lunged forward for a strike. Witness, are you absolutely certain? Yes, but believe me, she had no choice. If Mystic Maya hadn't done something... Maya's Faye's name would have been written in the autopsy report instead. Yes, I see. This is bad. I still can't put the pieces together. Unless I find a contradiction in her testimony, Maya's going to get blamed for this. I only have this to say. Okay, alright. Oh man, do I want to present this now. I feel like it's early. Doesn't it feel early? Sister Iris. There's something strange about your version of events. Huh? Miss Stoneham throwing her staff away makes no sense at all to me. But all you can do with the staff is hit someone. Naturally, you wouldn't know this, Sister Iris, but the victim's staff had a special feature about it. As you can see, it's a sword. Ah! If Elise Stoneham really had wanted to kill Maya Fey, she wouldn't have needed to use a separate dagger. Not when she already had a beautiful blade in her hands already. Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say? That was an impressive bit of investigating, right? I never would have thought there was a sword hidden in that staff. But even so... How should I put this? A long sword is unwieldy and thus quite ineffective at close quarters combat. Maybe that's why she chose a dagger over her blade? Well... Anyway, the type of weapon she chose to use isn't what's important. The important thing is that she tried to kill Maya Fey. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with her testimony. But there is something strange about this whole testimony! Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point. Very well, Your Honor. The defense will now present evidence to back its argument. Mr. Wright, I have here another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony can't be trusted. Because Miss Elise Stoneham would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey. Is it this? Yeah, because it's worn by it, so it proves who she is. Well, Mr. Godot? If you ask me, the only thing that seems strange is this angle of Mr. Trite's index finger. Trite, sticking your finger in an electrical outlet might be safer for you. Otherwise, it might get bitten off the next time you poke it in the wrong place. What? Hey! No, that's right. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to prove their relationship. Okay. There we go. Okay. Elise Donan would never have attacked Maya Fey. How can you be so sure? Because the victim's real name was not Elise Donan. Her real name was Misty Fey. Fey? Huh? No. Not Mystic Misty Fey. Who is this Misty Fey? Is she related to... Misty Fey is the master of the Curane channeling technique. She is also the mother of Maya Fey. Are you serious? Is it really true, Mr. Wright? Is Elise Donan actually the great Mystic Misty? There's no doubt about it. Looks like Iris had no idea. I can hardly believe it. The idea that she would try to kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years? Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing. Order in the court. Upon first hearing the witness's testimony, it seemed natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented, one, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight, and two, that the two people battling to the death were mother and daughter, despite the facts being believable and taken on their own. When taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe. Listen, there's nothing in this world that is impossible, except for one little thing. Yes, what is that one little impossible thing? Ha! You still don't get it. You think maybe my beans are under-roasted, but you have no idea, Gramps. Could you get to your point? I heard this witness's confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee. Is that not included in the 17 cups that you, drink during a trial? You're going to ruin your health, my friend. Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of a crime. And he discovered this little beauty. Oh, no. Wait, hold on a second. You're telling me that we investigated... I mentioned this yesterday, and by yesterday I mean like yesterday in the game, that why wasn't Gumshoe at the scene of the crime, if the scene of the crime was the Inner Temple garden, to look for the murder weapon? And here, lo and behold, Gumshoe, who's been searching for the murder weapon with his little metal detector, discovered a dagger when he couldn't show it to me. Is that the dagger that the witness testified to seeing? Obviously, Your Honor. But do you not notice something else? Now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be a bloodstain. Where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene. Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene? The pine tree? The dagger was stuck in the back side of the pine tree. When the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women, this little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree. Which means the blood on this dagger belongs to the victim, correct? Ha! Are you even listening? Old man, I first heard this confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee. Wait, didn't you say it was your 8th just a few minutes ago? I didn't have enough time to get the blood analyzed on such short notice. In any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I order that a blood test be performed on it immediately. This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right. Bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately. Yeah, okay, alright, cool, good, great. Now then, the testimony we just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible. I don't like it. Cute girls never lie. Ever. What? You of all people. You know what? Never mind. I'm not even gonna. You of all people should know that that's not true. In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court. Oh, about what, Your Honor? About the incident you saw? The battle between the two women? Yes, Your Honor. Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with a staff, but then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly, Mystic Elise was on the defensive, with her back to the stone lantern. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed. That was a very heartbreaking story. I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had to be 17 years since Mystic Missy's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore? That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination. That's important, because the writing happens here. You're saying that Maya Fey turned the tables on the victim? Yes. But Mystic Maya wasn't herself at the time. After all, her life was in danger. Still can't believe it. The idea of Maya cornering someone at knife point? It's just silly. As they say, a cornered fox is more dangerous than a jackal. I believe the correct description of a cornered fox is scared and petrified. Your animal analogies have grown tiresome. You were the one who started it! Anyway, so after Maya Fey backed the victim into the stone lantern, what happened next? Are you absolutely certain that's what you saw? Yes, I'm almost certain. Almost? The garden was dark. I couldn't really tell who was who. What did you just say? So, in other words, it could have been someone else entirely.
Objection!
We know that Maya Fey was at the Inner Temple that night, and that this woman that was killed was Elise Donim. Isn't it fairly obvious who attacked who? I don't have anything to counter that yet. Well then, witness, please continue with your testimony. Yes, Your Honor. The two of them faced each other for a moment. Then Mystic Maya rushed straight into Mystic Elise. Then Mystic Elise doubled over and fell to the ground. So she was stabbed in the stomach, huh? Yes. I have to go back and press everything because I think I'll find some information here. Iris, where were you standing when you witnessed all this? What do you mean? Well, if either of them had noticed you, they might not have continued their battle. I wonder if that's true. The two of them, they were standing near the garden stone lantern. I was watching the whole thing from behind. It was dark where the two of them were, so I think that's why they didn't see me. So it was dark at the garden when the murder took place. Tell me, what did Miss Maya Fey do after she was struck? Okay, we've established it was dark. What happened to the victim's staff then? I'm not sure. The area was very dark, so I really couldn't see. I think it got knocked away somewhere as the fight escalated. That makes sense. That would explain the need for the dagger. Mystic Elise raised the dagger to strike, and Mystic Maya dodged it at the last second. The dagger struck the lantern and fell to the ground. And then at some point, Mystic Maya picked it up. Whoops. Nothing sounds especially strange yet. What did the victim do when the weapon was stolen from her? Where did that dagger go? I have no idea. It was dark and I couldn't see. According to the detective who found the dagger, it was stuck into the pine tree in the garden. Most likely, it was flung toward the tree after the struggle. That is the most likely explanation, yes. After being stabbed in the stomach, did the victim collapse right away? Now that I think of it, she seemed to stare at Mystic Maya for a while. And Mystic Maya stood there, not moving an inch. It felt for a moment like time had just stopped. But then, suddenly, as if the spell had worn off, Mystic Elise fell over. Seems like a reasonable story at first, but there's one thing that is completely impossible. The very idea of Maya stabbing someone. That alone is impossible. Which means this faulty testimony must contain another contradiction in it somewhere. Absolutely certain that's what you saw. Almost certain the garden was dark, couldn't really tell who was who. So in other words, it could have been someone else entirely. I don't have anything to counter that yet. Maya Fey turned the tables. Something about a cornered fox. Am I supposed to present something here? Is this where my contradiction is? What happened to the staff? Miss Maya dodged it the last seconds. Miss Maya picked it up. What evidence do I have? Where were you standing? Somewhere they couldn't see. She dodged and stole the weapon. And she was on the defensive. Something about a cornered fox. Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. You're absolutely certain. Almost certain. Couldn't tell who was who.
Objection!
I need to prove... What, do I need to prove that somebody else was there? Oh. Wow. I'm so dumb. She was stabbed in the back. She was stabbed in the back. She was stabbed in the back. That's okay. Again, I always forget to go through the evidence with you guys before I start the game, and in this case, I should have, because it has been a while, so... Here we go. We're good. Something about you just isn't right today, Iris. Huh? Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions. What do you mean? What's so wrong about my testimony? According to you, Maya Fey stabbed the victim, who had her back to the stone lantern, correct? Yes, that's right. But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, right? Yes, I think so. But according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound to her back. Ah. This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt has sprouted from your testimony. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? Ha. Simple. People are like books. We've all got a front and a back, you get my drift? Your analogies are really weird. Is that all you have to say? I can also say that darkness loves to play with the human mind. Could you please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and logical metaphors already? The point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throwing away a useful staff, the people fighting being mother and daughter, and now she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach. There certainly are some inconsistencies. Well, Iris, how about it? Well, it's just... If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing. What do you mean? There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee, but to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. Were you really concentrating on what this witness actually said? Prosecutor Godot, explain yourself. The witness was quite unambiguous about her own ambiguities when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light. Light. By the way, did you know? The Inner Temple has a rule that on nights when an acolyte is there training, the stone lantern in the garden is to always be lit. I did wonder what that stone lantern was there for. Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see the crime more clearly? Normally, yes, Your Honor, but according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light that stone lantern. Impossible? It hadn't been used in a long time and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to be nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all. Most enlightening. Yes, that illuminating fact has chased all the contradictions away. If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, Trite? No! Order, order, order! Here, Your Honor. Let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it will rekindle the flame of truth in your mind. Finally, I was wondering when it was going to be entered. Why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face? What's wrong, Your Honor? Was that flame too hot? This lantern. There's something written on it. Oh, why, it's written in blood. Oh boy. So the judge didn't know about that yet. Written in blood? It says Maya upside down! What the? Oh, yes, that's right. After being cornered and then stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise didn't fall down right away. She must have been writing that on the stone lantern behind her, with the blood that was draining out of her body. That was visual. Certainly looks that way. Hang on just a minute. What are you all talking about? What do you mean, what are we all talking about? We're talking about the message written in blood? Nonsense. This lantern is as clean as a whistle. Could it be you can't see the bloody writing at all? Now that I think of it, he did say something to me yesterday. My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything. So that's what he meant by that. In any case, this is obviously an important clue. We know now that the crime scene was dark, and that the victim scrawled this message on the stone lantern. Well, Mr. Godot, anything further? Mr. Godot. Okay then. Let's move on. Godot is literally shaking, and somehow I don't think it's from caffeine overdose. I believe it has now been established that Miss Donim was killed by Maya Fey. That's just wrong. Now it's time to turn our attention to you. Yes, sir. After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Let's hear it. We're all ears. After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Curain tradition. So I removed the body from the inner temple by myself and dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. And I used the snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple, and I used the branched sword to alter the way the wound looked. So you moved the body? Yes, I was raised at Hazakura Temple. I owe a great deal of thanks to the Fey Clan. But even so, I never imagined that Elise Donim was actually Misty Fey. I've committed a terrible sin. A terrible trick of fate. I believe you're looking for a twist of fate, Your Honor. I intended to return to the inner temple after taking care of the body, but you were spotted by the head nun, correct? Yes, and that's why I couldn't go back. Your story makes sense, I suppose. Mr. Wright, go ahead with your cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. So you waited until everything was over before making a move? No, it's not like that. Objection. She saw someone murdered right in front of her eyes. It's not surprising that she was a little timid. Yes, I suppose that's true. Sometimes when I'm watching lawyers argue back and forth with each other, I feel so helpless that I just sit quietly and wait for them to reach a conclusion. Isn't it your job as the judge to mediate the argument? It wasn't until Mystic Maya saw me that it finally dawned on her what she had done. So then you knew. You knew the significance of the name Maya Fey. Yes, of course I did. That's odd. I mean, Sister Bikini didn't recognize Maya's name, let alone her position. Anyway, she was a very special person indeed. Why did you do that? Because I didn't want Mystic Maya to be suspected in any way. I thought the best thing would be to remove the body from the crime scene. You moved her body all by yourself? Yes, I did. It would have been impossible if it wasn't for the snow. The snow, huh? It's pretty amazing you can make it all the way across. That's a rickety old bridge. It looks worse than it is. It's surprisingly sturdy despite its age. It's like they say. Idiots are too stupid to catch even a simple cold. But there's one other thing that bothers me. Why not just throw the body into the Eagle River? It would have been much easier than dragging it all the way to Hazakura Temple. I thought that it would still cast too much suspicion on Mystic Maya. That's why I tried to take the body as far away as possible. Ha! Makes perfect sense to me, for the time being. Anyway, what did you do after you crossed the bridge? I used the snowmobile. The snowmobile? I knew that would show up sooner or later. Yes, I had the key. I used the snowmobile to travel from Hazakura Temple to Dusky Bridge. This is the part that was in question the other day. Should I ask for more details? Always ask for more details. Let me hear more about the snowmobile ride, apparently. Well, it was very cold that night, so I rode it all the way to the foot of the bridge. Objection! I'm sorry, witness. But now, I've got a problem with your testimony. Excuse me? Ido, what are you up to now? That night, after the head nun left the remainder of the training to you, she said she walked from the inner temple back to Hazakura Temple. Yes, I'm fairly certain that was what the record says. Let's recall her comments on the subject. I really have to figure out Godot's voice. I'm like at the end of the last case, and I cannot figure out his voice. And I made it back to Hazakura Temple. It was there. The snowmobile was in front of the main gate. This is one of those contradictions, wouldn't you say? Order, Mr. Godot. Why are you pointing out contradictions in the witness's testimony? Let's just say I like things to be neat and tidy, okay? Well, maybe Sister Bikini missed it. Maybe she didn't see it. You think she missed it? That doesn't sound right. Ha! Whatever. Even I don't think this is decisive enough to warrant any more time or effort. It's just... you'd better be careful in your testimony. That's all I wanted to say. A smart little cookie like you shouldn't have any trouble understanding that. Yes, sir. What was that all about? Why would Godot want to give me a hint? Very well then, let's continue with the testimony. So you transported the body by snowmobile, all the way to Hazakura Temple courtyard. Yes, I thought that way Mystic Maya would never be suspected. That's what I thought anyway. And then Okay, let's ask about the other thing then. About the tracks. If you really did move her body by snowmobile, then there should be tracks left in the snow, right? Well, yes, naturally, you would expect tracks. This picture was presented at yesterday's trial. Are these the tracks from that ride? Yes, I think they are. But I can only see one set of tracks. Oh, I don't see what's so strange about that. The snow was still falling when I left Hazakura Temple. I see. The snow was still falling, huh? And then when the murder took place, it had already stopped. That's why there are just such fresh-looking tracks. How about it, Mr. Wright? What do you think about this testimony? When the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. That doesn't make sense if you stack it up against the other evidence. To 11. Where's my weather data? Okay. Your Honor, I'd like the statement Iris just made to be added to the testimony. It doesn't have something to do with the case. All will be made clear if you allow her statement to be added for the record. Ha. This should be fun. Let's get the snow business cleared up, shall we? Yes, sir. By the time that the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. We know the murder took place between 10 and 11, and that the snow stopped at 10:50. We also know lightning hit the bridge at 10:45. There have been a lot of contradictions in your testimony so far. This time, are you sure it's all true? Yes, I am. When the murder happened, the snow had already stopped. According to you, that's why the snowmobile tracks were so clear? That's right. I'm certain of it. I think I've trapped her this time. I see how you think. Snow, huh? I'm not missing something, am I? What is going on here? If the snow really had stopped by the time of the murder, I mean, there's a bigger hole in her story than the movie The Grid Revelations. Well then, Mr. Trite, perhaps you'd like to share your theory with us? Let's see what's up your sleeve, or rather, at the end of your index finger. I don't want to believe it, but I don't think my logic is failing me. Iris is trying to pin the murder on Maya. Why would she want to do that? There's only one reason I can think of. It's not the weather data. What am I doing? And we're back. I was running around like a crazy person until I realized that I didn't know what I was doing. So, it turns out I'm not supposed to present on the new line. I had the right piece of evidence, but I'm not supposed to present it here. I'm supposed to present it on this line. Because of the connection there. I was making the connection, but I wasn't putting it on the right place. Because the snow stopped at 10:50 and the bridge was on fire at 10:45, this is the statement that it wants me to present it on. It's a little unfair of the game to do that after the game added a new thing. I mean, a new statement, like that's, until this point, that has been the game saying, hey, this is where the contradiction is. In fact, he even said that was it. He said, oh, I've got her trapped now, I'm gonna present this. So, it's one of those things, again, where it's like, okay, game, I was following what you were putting down, but, what can you do? Okay. Also, full disclosure, I did look at a walkthrough to get that, but I didn't look any further. Than that. Just up to that point. Because I was getting frustrated, because I just kept presenting every piece of evidence that I had at that one statement, and then I'm like, what is wrong? Why is this not working? So, anyway, all that being said, again, You're here, you're listening to what my logic is. You know that I know what I'm talking about. It's just a matter of the mechanics and when you present it, and it happens. And especially in these earlier games, I've talked about it. The logic is not as clear all the time. Okay, you claim that the snow had already stopped when the murder occurred. Yeah, see, why am I not pressing... Never mind, I'm just... Go on. But I'm sorry, Iris. That just isn't possible. What? This is the weather data from the night of the murder. According to this, the snow didn't stop until 10:50 p.m. But you couldn't have crossed Dusky Bridge at that time. Why do you say that? Because 5 minutes before the snow stopped, Dusky Bridge was struck by lightning and had caught on fire. What did you say? The bridge... It was on fire? You don't mean to say you didn't know about it. It was because of that lightning strike that the bridge burned down. What? But it can't be. Looks like you still haven't figured it out. No matter how hard you try to deceive or conceal the truth, you can't pull the wool over the eyes of a real defense attorney. Order! The bridge was already on fire when the incident took place. That's right, the inner temple was already totally cut off from the outside world. There's no way she could have crossed the bridge, body or no body. Witness, even my patience has its limits. Any further lying and I will find you in contempt of court. Do you have anything to say for yourself? The only person here that is truly contemptible is you. Old man. Me? How dare you? Whether this witness lied or not doesn't mean squat right now. Squat? The important thing now is to find out the truth, isn't that right? Yes, of course, but whether it was snowing or not snowing, or whether the bridge was burning or not, there are two facts that can't be disputed. First, the body of Elise Donim was discovered in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. And second, the head nun, Sister Bikini, witnessed Iris desecrating Elise Donim's body. He makes a good point on both accounts. That's right. I'm not lying. What are you claiming this time? I wasn't myself at all that night, so my memory is still somewhat hazy. You have stood at that witness stand and testified this entire time. Are you telling us now that your memory of that night is hazy? It's only human to err. If you're so perfect trite, maybe you can explain this for the court? What is it? When the murder happened, the bridge had already burned down. But somehow the body traveled across the bridge and was found in the temple courtyard. Perhaps you have some kind of perfect explanation for this little magic trick? Well, not exactly, no. No, there must be some other way she got across that burnt-out bridge. Unless I can somehow demonstrate it, we'll never know the truth. Looks like the defense is not prepared to offer a suitable explanation. You see what I mean? In other words, I keep changing his voice. You're in no position to suggest that this lady's testimony isn't the truth. All right, then. Witness, let's hear your testimony once more. About what, Your Honor? You've admitted that you moved the victim's body. Nevertheless, your prior testimony contained a rather large inconsistency. Please add an explanation for that to your testimony. Yes, Your Honor. Will this be her final testimony? Other than walking over the bridge, there's no way to move the body. So I must have just gotten confused, I guess. And was the snow still falling, or had it stopped? Does it really matter that much? Are you saying that there's a way to cross a burning bridge? So, it was just a misunderstanding, I see. This is a photo of Dusky Bridge after it burned down for the lightning blast. It was taken on the morning after the incident. It certainly was burned to a crisp. One of the suspension wires is gone. It's amazing the whole bridge didn't fall. Indeed. That thing's a death trap. Clearly, it would be impossible to carry a corpse across the bridge in this condition. Unless I do something to discredit this testimony, it's going to be deemed as the truth, and Maya will be accused of murder. Trite. I'm only going to say it one more time. It is only human to err. And only humans can spot the errors of our ways. The more sense he makes, the less sense he makes. Alright, Mr. Wright, please begin your final cross-examination. Oh yeah, I guess it is named as the final. Cool. Great. Awesome. As you can see, I am in totally good shape here. Oh man. Yes, but if the snow had already stopped when the incident took place, I couldn't have crossed the bridge, naturally. But I think it's just like Mr. Godot said. The body did make it across somehow. The uncertainty in her words, not helpful. This is the statement that we need to work with, because we need to prove that there's a way to cross a burning bridge. And we do know of a way to cross a burning bridge, based on what we have. I'm gonna press it first, and then I'll present. Just in case I'm supposed to, present in the press. Well, I don't see why there couldn't be a way across. Mr. Wright, don't you think that sounds a bit silly? A dead body crossing a burning bridge. Did anyone actually witness such a thing? The red letters to hint you towards what you're trying to get to. Great stuff. If there was, I don't think you'd call someone like that a witness. Oh, even that was a hint. After all, a dream isn't the same as actually seeing something. I've come all this way, so I owe it to everyone to figure this out. But how do you transport a body across a burning bridge? Even I don't know the exact answer yet. I'll start by examining all my evidence and see where it takes me. Gotta be like a shark. If I don't keep moving, I'm as good as dead. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. A dead body flying over a burning bridge. I wouldn't exactly rule out the possibility. What? Ha! You're saying it's possible. Don't make me laugh. The only thing that's possible about your claim is that it's been pulled out of thin air. I don't know about that. In any case, we have a witness who did see it happen. Preposterous! Who is it? Who is this witness? I can't chicken out here. I've got to keep on the attack and go, go, go. Miss Lee Stonem's brilliant and highly gifted apprentice, Larry Stonem. Brilliant, highly gifted apprentice? Remember what he said in his testimony? That night he was at the Mountain Shack, Heavenly Hall. And that's when he witnessed the event. I think you've all seen this sketch before. It's an exact drawing of what he witnessed that night. Are you serious? Today's not April Fool's Day, is it? Mr. Wright, are you seriously claiming that the victim flew through the air? And you're using this pathetic scribble to support your argument? Oh, the judge looks like he's about to blow a gasket. Ha! Well, Trite, there's nowhere for you to hide now. Other than looking like it was drawn by a 6-year-old, does this sketch prove anything? Yes, I'm pretty sure it does, and I'm going to prove it. Listen, I know your tricks. You're trying to turn this whole thing upside down. If you're so eager to turn this case upside down, why not start with a sketch? Upside down? Why did Godot say that? Alright then, let's hear the defense's theory. What exactly is the sketch trying to show? I don't think old Whiskerface is going to forgive any more mistakes. Especially not with the health that I have. Alright, Phoenix, look carefully and think it over. This sketch drawn by Larry Stonem is exactly what happened. Of course the victim was flying through the air. You can see it right there in the sketch. Whoosh. Am I... Okay, I've been sitting on this sketch forever. I know what's going on, and I know what's being seen in the sketch, and I know what just was hinted here. But Phoenix is not picking up what Godot's putting down. You're starting to remind me of yesterday's witness. That was the last thing I wanted to hear. Do you have any evidence that the victim flew through the air? Just so you know, we haven't discovered a giant human catapult at the Inner Temple yet. Don't you dare strike me for this. Yeah, there is. Wait. What just happened? Do I have to present it again? Or do I present this now? Oh man, this case is so confusing. Okay, now the problem isn't so much that my logic is... Well, I mean, my logic is sound because I know what the sketch is representing. But now I'm like, surely I don't have to present that same picture again. I present this, right? No, because this was in my... Okay, alright, hold on. Godot actually told him to skip the penalty? I admit that I didn't really understand it before. Oh, I can't believe we're looking at this again. That's what I said. I admit that I didn't really understand it before, but I get it now. That's why I believe this sketch shows the truth. Very well. Alright then, let's hear the defense's theory. What is this sketch trying to show? Okay. So do I say it's a complete contradiction then? It's definitely evidence, and it is exactly what happened, but I don't think that's what it's trying to... Sure, it's a contradiction. Why not? I know what's going on. Okay, something is obviously funny about the sketch. I'm not an art critic, but even I can see that. No, that's not what I mean, Your Honor. Larry Stoneham stated it over and over that this sketch was exactly as he saw it. However, if we're to believe his testimony, then the sketch contradicts reality as we know it. It contradicts reality? Ha! This is getting interesting. Looks like you're back to that finger-pointing thing again. Okay, trite. So what exactly contradicts reality as we know it? The woman flying through the air? Is it going for this, or is it going for the other thing that I know is coming, but don't want to reveal yet? Okay. Woman flying through the air. The flying figure, naturally. After all, people haven't learned to fly yet, or did I miss something? Yeah, okay. Mr. Wright, that answer just now. It was lethal. Oh, is she the one that gives me the penalty? The answer was embarrassing. So embarrassing I'm actually blushing. Okay, I guess it was the point that I was supposed to make. Point to something else. Please give me one more chance. Okay, so it really didn't want me to go about the flying person. I'm gonna stick with this then. This is what else I was going to say. It's the wire connected to the bridge. The wire? Ha. Is that the thing that contradicts reality? Yep, it is indeed. Then show us the reality it supposedly conflicts with. So, the problem with playing this game after I've played this game is that I know what everything leads. Like, when Larry produced the sketch, I knew that this scene was coming. So I know everything that's going on with this sketch, because that's just something that I remember from this case. So the problem comes with what order to present it in. And not spoiling things for you guys by guessing the wrong thing, getting penalized, and then being like, oh, well, I guessed the thing that's going to come up in the future. So I didn't want to guess the ropes, but now apparently that was the correct thing to guess. I wasn't in the wrong order. We're nearing the end of this. Let's do it. Not this one. That's a photo of Dusky Bridge, correct? Yes. Now compare the sketch and the photo for a minute. In this sketch, the wires appear to be above the guard wires. But on the actual Dusky Bridge... Jumping Jehoshaphat! The wires are below the guard wires. What? You're the one who said upside down, buddy. Order, order, order. This sketch is somewhat different than what's depicted in the photo. However, isn't it likely that the artist just saw it wrong? Or perhaps he just drew it wrong? Either way, it sounds like you're just wrong. Afraid not. With someone like Larice, I admit that a mistake is a definite possibility, but then that begs the question, why did he make a mistake? What was the reason? Are you saying you know the answer to that? Listen, think back, alright? Remember what Larice was doing when he witnessed this event? He was at Heavenly Hall, waiting for a lover that was never going to come. He waited and finally laid down. But then, lightning shoots from the sky and sets the bridge aflame. Now ponder what sort of position Larry must have been in at the time. He was lying on his back, which is why he remembered the scene the way he did. He was lying on his back. I can't see how it relates. But it does, Your Honor. That's the reason why the wires in the sketch go up instead of down. Ah! No way. Maurice Stoneham witnessed the event while he was lying on his back face up. In other words, the scene that he saw was actually upside down. So then the sketch should actually... I think you finally get it, Your Honor. The correct way to view Larry Stoneham's sketch is like this. This is how it should actually look. Dun dun dun. The victim's body wasn't flying above the bridge, it was actually swinging below. That's right, just like a pendulum. Ridiculous! Order, order, order! Of all the things to say, a pendulum... The bridge was burning to its crisp, there was no way to get across it. But if the body had been found in the inner temple, it would have caused problems. This is where the criminal decided to take a gamble. They used the burning bridge to get the body across to the other side, and a pendulum was the only way to get it done. Let's think about this for a minute, shall we? Dusky Bridge is about 20 yards long, which means it's about that far from the inner temple to the opposite cliff. Yes, that sounds right. In order to cover that distance with a pendulum, you'd need a rope at least 10 yards long. To get a rope that long, you'd have to plan ahead. The lightning strike that night can only have been an accident, so it doesn't make sense that the criminal would have prepared the rope beforehand. So then the criminal... They didn't have to get the rope ready. The rope was already right in front of the criminal. What? I'm saying that it was just a matter of using what was already there. In that case, Mr. Wright, please give us an explanation to support your theory. What makes you think that the criminal had the rope on hand to create a pendulum? That same picture, actually. And the meaning of this is, if you want to know where the rope came from, it's hanging right there in front of your glorious beard. Ah, this is one of the wires from the bridge. When the lightning struck the bridge and set it on fire, one of the suspension wires came loose from its anchor. The criminal didn't have any time to waste. So they tied the wire around Elise Stoneham's body. Because there was simply no other way to move the body. Ha! Mr. Godot. That's a lot of coffee. It seems like Mr. Godot is more focused on his coffee than answering my question. Seriously, how much is fitting in that cup? It seems that the odds of the rope being readily available are very high, so I suppose that it's not an impossibility after all. Possible or impossible, that's not the question we need to ask. There's only one question. Did that really happen? Trite, I wonder if you can prove what happened to us. Do you have any actual evidence that the body was swung over like a pendulum? What? The broken rope? Larry's sketch? Are neither of those correct? I beg your pardon? I just proved it in 2 ways. What do you want from me, Godot? Okay, alright. Earlier, I was talking about... the crystal sphere being found there. So, like, she landed there. Or we could also talk about how the victim fell 10 feet after death. Because that was always a thing. Shoot. What? Wow, this case is really killing me, man. I don't know what's going on. It's still, I mean, we're barely even halfway done. No, that's not true. This is what part am I on? Am I on part 7? I don't even know anymore. Yeah, okay, no, we're much more than halfway done. Oh, but we still have so much more to go. Okay. It's either the fact that this was found, or the fact that she fell 10 feet. Let's go with the 10 feet one. Before I present my evidence, let me review what we know so far. Okay, that's promising. According to this photo, one of the wires snapped. Looking at the map, we can see it's the one that was in front of the inner temple. So then, that was the spot for the criminal. Yes, precisely. Now let us consider the body's movement by looking at the overhead map again. The body was pushed from this point here, would drop on the opposite bank at approximately this point. Did you say drop? Well, they must have failed to catch the body on the other bank. What makes you think something like that happened? Because I have evidence that suggests her body dropped some distance. What kind of evidence? Take a look at this autopsy report. It says here that her body fell about 10 feet after her death. 10 feet, huh? That's most likely the height difference between the two sides. The body overswung due to the forward momentum, but then came loose and fell about 10 feet. And then, as a result of the landing impact, this crystal sphere was knocked loose. Okay, I wonder if I had presented that, if that would have been, I bet it would have been. I bet that was the one that I could actually put 2 answers to. Yes, this blood-stained amethyst crystal is the one that came off of Miss Elise Stoneham's staff. And even more important is the place where this crystal sphere was found. Indeed, I believe it already marked on this overhead map. Crystal was found... precisely, Your Honor. In the very spot where the pendulum would arrive if given the right amount of speed. This explains your theory quite well, Mr. Wright. You have provided us with a way the body could have been moved that night. An impressive deduction, Mr. Wright. Most impressive. What was that? Oh. Mr. Wright. Godot was not happy with that. I thought this cold coffee might help cool you down. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Godot? That was a dark and bitter guess that you made, Trite. But you forgot about one thing. Oh, and what would that be? The aroma. Huh? A coffee's most reliable accomplice is its deep and profound aroma. The rest of the court doesn't speak Coffeenese. Can you elaborate a bit more? If the criminal had sent the body to the other side like you say, then naturally there must have been an accomplice laying in wait to catch it. An accomplice? The criminal wasn't able to cross Dusky Bridge, so who collected the body? What do you have to say about that, Trite? Mr. Godot is correct. This can't be the work of a single person. Well, Mr. Wright, you know what you must do. Yes, Your Honor. The body couldn't have made it to Hazakura Temple without an accomplice. Very well, then. If you please, Mr. Wright, who was the person that received the body on the Hazakura Temple side? Am I doing this? Am I doing this? Am I doing this? This seems early. It can only be you, Sister Iris. Huh? Ah! But I don't see why you're so surprised. The only way to transport the body from Dusky Bridge is by snowmobile. But with her bad back, Sister Bikini could never pick up a body like that. You're the only one who could have managed it. Trite, were you even listening to the witness's testimony? On the night of the crime, this little cutie pie was on cleanup duty in the Inner Temple Garden after the mother-daughter bloodbath. I haven't forgotten, but have you, Mr. Godot? This witness was also seen at Hazakura Temple, desecrating the corpse of the victim. Strange indeed. It's almost as if, on that night, the defendant was in two different places at the same time. Sister Iris, let me ask you something. Why didn't you mention it when you first gave your testimony? Mention what? The pendulum, of course. Using the sketch drawn by an eyewitness, I have established how the body was moved using the burnout bridge, which means it's now a fact that this occurred, something that you should have already known. No, I had no idea. I didn't know anything about a pendulum. But the body couldn't have been passed along to the other side without your help, so you should have known about it. In fact, it'd be impossible for you to be clueless about this whole thing, unless you're not really Iris to begin with. What? How can you say that, Mr. Wright? What kind of nonsense is this? You're saying this witness isn't Iris of Hazakura Temple? Are you serious, Trite? You mean this woman is... There's no one besides Iris who could have received the corpse that night. Now I get it. Now I know why I've been sick to my stomach during this trial. Why her whole demeanor changed so suddenly from yesterday. And why she's trying to pin this murder on Maya. The woman that's standing there at the witness stand. I never thought I'd have to utter your name again, let alone see you. It's been a long time, Dahlia Hawthorne. Hawthorne? Sister Iris had a twin sister, and you're looking at her, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. That name rings some bells. Distant bells, but bells nonetheless. Ha! It's just your imagination, Gramps. This file contains all the relevant data about Dahlia Hawthorne. Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh yes, I remember now. In that case, 5 years ago. It's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence. But according to this, Dahlia Hawthorne is already dead. It says her execution was carried out last month. So what? Death has no meaning in this courtroom. What? Order, order, order. Wait a moment. How can you... My sister, she's already dead. What kind of... Oh, can it? You of all people should already understand. After all, the blood of the master of the Curate channeling technique flows within that body. The Curate channeling technique? Now, where have I heard that? That's right. You're not Dahlia Hawthorne herself. You're the spirit of Dahlia, currently inhabiting the body of a spirit medium. What an exciting story. Exciting, but quite impossible. You're asking us to buy that Dahlia Hawthorne just happened to be channeled by someone on the very night of the murder to a temple where her twin sister Iris was? Well, if you're going to put things that way, then yes. Objection. We're supposed to believe a coincidence like that just happens. Naturally, it was no coincidence. The whole thing was part of a plan from the very beginning. And it's all written right here in these instructions. What's that? These instructions were written by your mother, Morgan Fay. And part of the plan called for Dahlia Hawthorne to be channeled. That night, there were 2 irises at Hazakura Temple. 2 of them. Even the time of the channeling was planned out. As soon as you hear the lights out bell. In other words, 10 p.m. However, Iris was seen before dinner time. That means the Iris that was at dinner was the real Iris. And the Iris who gave me this hood in the main hall was also the real Iris. Meaning that the Iris Sister Bikini saw at the inner temple was someone else dressed as her. Namely, one Dahlia Hawthorne. Do you even know what you're saying, Trite? This whole channeling the spirit of Dahlia Hawthorne business. Yes, it's true that you found plans that talk about it. However, there's one thing that's perfectly clear. The witness currently standing in the witness stand is the real Iris. What? Calm down and remember what you know about the night of the crime. After meeting Sister Bikini, the Dahlia Hawthorne that has been channeled would have been stranded at the inner temple due to the lightning strike. It was later that the body was moved by pendulum. That's right. Naturally, that would mean that the Iris that received the body was the real Iris. Are you with me so far? Yes. After being notified of what happened, the police came to Hazakura Temple's main hall. There they found Iris in her room and arrested her. And ever since, she's been under police supervision at the detention center. Yes, I suppose. Can't deny any of that. Oh, thank goodness. Looks like he's finally convinced. Something still seems off, way off. I'm still not convinced that that Iris here is the same one from the other night. Ha! I suppose you were about to say something really ridiculous. Like the real Iris and the spirit of Dahlia somehow switched places. Switched places? To be perfectly honest, there are still quite a few things I don't understand, but I do now know that unless we confirm the witness's identity, we cannot continue with this trial. Iris doesn't have the spiritual power needed to channel Dahlia, which means they must have switched places somewhere. Well, Mr. Wright, since the time she was arrested at Hazakura Temple, have there been any chances for Iris to switch places with Dahlia Hawthorne? Yes. Yes, there was. Your Honor, I think there might have been one chance. Oh, explain yourself. Yesterday, for a few minutes, Iris's whereabouts were unknown. Unknown? What do you mean? What I mean is, there was a span of time in which Iris was able to move about freely and unsupervised. Well, who was it? Who would give the murder suspect time to move about freely like that? I'm sorry. Oh, this is pain. This is pain. It wasn't your fault. The person who gave Iris a chance to freely move about I'm so sorry. This is Mr. Edgeworth, isn't it? Your Honor, there was a fairly large earthquake yesterday, was there not? An earthquake? We went to the inner temple right away. And it's true, Iris was already there. However, they'd already switched places by that point in time. When I arrived at the training hall, I was met by none other than Dahlia Hawthorne. That's quite enough already, Mr. Wright. Now see here. No judge in his right mind would consider the idea of spirit channeling and... Be quiet. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. It's been a long time, Mr. Judge. That voice. Guess I'll have to ask again. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules. Dahlia Hawthorne, in my current profession, permanently retired. Ha! So you're not going to bother hiding your identity anymore, huh? Why should I? After all, I'm dead. Who? That was... I wasn't ready for that sprite. Man, that was actually really scary. She is... Dahlia is... Oh, man. She is just... She's such a good villain. You know, in the worst way possible. There's really nothing you can do to punish me. What is going on here? Dahlia Hawthorne. I never thought we'd meet again. And I never thought we'd meet like this. But this time, I'll end it. For her, and for myself. I think he was referring to Mia there. Finish it! Finish it! Okay, yeah, we are, the climax here. We've got a little bit more to go, but, things are starting to clarify. And Dahlia Hawthorne is super, like, she's, oh my goodness, she's so evil. She's a very dark villain. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we have yet to discover exactly all the things that are going on here, but we've still got all the time to do it, and most of this recording is cut, so sorry about that little issue that I ran into, and oh, my recording just cut out from my screen, so that's even better. Perfect timing. I'll talk to you guys later.